Hello and welcome everyone to yet another Study in the UK Ask Us Anything. My name is Mariana. I'm your head of advisors. You're tired of seeing me every week, but I'm still here. But I'm here bringing you a brand new person. And Katarina is one of our new advisors. And yeah, Katarina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, thank you for having me. I'm Katarina, I'm from Belgrade, and I'm a student advisor here at OK Student.
How long have you been an advisor with us?
I think for 2 months now. I mean, we've been talking, I think, since November, but actively 2 months.
That's wonderful. How have you been finding your experience so far?
I really love it, to be honest. I do, and I didn't think that I could even do this job from Serbia, but not to say thanks to COVID, but some things are good that are remote, and I'm really grateful to experience this because I love working with students, and I have been doing that for years.
It's really good, man. And I think that the fact that we work remote just helps us a lot in like supporting students all over the world. And you being anywhere in the world as well and being able to support students in Serbia and other countries. And yeah, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I agree. And our team is also really diverse because we have advisors from Indonesia, from India, from uh, even Europe a lot, and America. So, I mean, they're now in the UK, but we've like all splattered across the world. So it's really nice.
Exactly. And how has it been living in Serbia and being in Belgrade?
Well, I don't know if you know, but it stopped snowing today, but it started snowing once the spring came. So it's been a bit cold. But other than that, I'm looking forward to some sunshine. And other than that, it was good. I mean, we have also COVID cases, but it's getting better, I hope. So we'll see.
That's great. That's great. And okay, so I want to ask you because you're studying in Serbia, right?
Yeah, I'm on my final year of bachelor studies.
Perfect. So what are you studying?
So I'm studying andragogy, which is adult education. So here that's always like, is that anthropology or stuff like that? But it's adult education, and it's basically everything for people from 18 to plus, what they need to, study, whether it's work, whether it's personal development and stuff like that. So it does have a lot of, subjects where I can implement my knowledge. So it's really broad.
That's perfect. And so you have like a really good experience that we can talk about here, which is your experience studying in a Serbian university. And with everything that you've learned so far about UK universities, what do you feel are the main differences that students will feel?
I feel like time organization of the lectures and everything, I think that is a really good note to start because I used to have sometimes live lectures that would end at 10 p.m. So I mean, even for people that are not from Belgrade, that live somewhere a bit further, but even for me, I'm 40 minutes away from my lectures, so it does take time to go home and you're not really full of energy to do anything during that day. And sometimes, even if it doesn't end at 10 p.m., I would have maybe breaks that would be like 2 hours between the lectures, so not enough to go home, but still you stay in the city, you either waste money or stuff like that. But even staying in a cafe every week for 2 hours, it's also not that stimulating, I guess. And my whole uh, group from university, we would always do something and just get bored really easily. So I think subjects and how they're organized for sure, but also how practical the UK system is. So I think a lot of that for sure, and a lot of universities have their own career centers, and we have that here. I'm in both now for the whole university, but even for my faculty. But for faculties, they're more voluntarily and organized by students. So I don't think that they're that much pushed and that they help each student as much as in the UK. Career centers are much more serious and better organized, I would say. So I think that's important because I work with students and I know when they're doing bachelors, they're not, of course, they're thinking about their jobs, but they do need help to create that CV, to get preparation for interviews and stuff like that. And I think it's important to have those career centers within your university that can help you on taking your first steps at job market.
That's perfect. Guys, don't forget, to anybody who's watching us right now, you can comment below, ask us any questions about being a Serbian student who's going to the UK. Or if you want to come and study in the UK, don't forget, you can always send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or send us your details through okstudent.com/book a meeting. So, Kat, I think you pointed very, very interesting points there about employability, about time organization and time management. I really felt that when I basically, because I took my undergraduate in the UK, and then I took part of my postgraduate degree in Portugal and another part of it in the UK. And when I started taking my postgraduate degree in Portugal, that was one of my major problems, was that all of my classes they would start at 6 p.m. and they would end at like 10, maybe midnight sometimes. And I lived so far away from my university that it was just impossible to me. So definitely, I think that time management is one of the things that ends up being so much more helpful to the student when they live in the UK. Especially because you can live really close to the university as well. And that ends up making it so much easier for people who are struggling to go to lectures.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you are also more energetic. I mean, you as well, when you came home, you were probably, not willing to do anything other than fall asleep or watch a show. So
Exactly. And especially I think that even when we talk about, for example, online learning, because it's been such a thing that we talk about through COVID, it's something that I found is that a lot of people are thriving because now they don't have to commute to university. As you were saying, you have 40-minute commute all the way to your university. Have you been commuting now? How has it been being online learning?
For exams, I do have to commute, but other than that, I don't. And I'm one of those people that has been, striving because I could never pull a job as well as going to university. So the remote stuff, I hope it sticks for the whole duration of my studies because for me, it really does work.
Exactly. And I think that since schools and universities have done this investment, they could actually do this really easily, and it would be really beneficial to most students.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of resources are now, I guess, more accessible because you have to prepare everything online so that all students can see it. So I think that's also really good.
Exactly. So I want to touch on another point here, because you've been working a lot with Stefan, our business development manager, with OK Student Sports. Is that right? And you've been working with an organization in Serbia called OSI. Do you want to talk about this a bit?
Yeah, sure. So let's start with sports. So Serbia is really famous for its basketball players and volleyball players. I mean, we're generally a lot of us are talented in sports, but volleyball and basketball are the ones that are main areas. So a lot of UK universities are even interested for female and male volleyball and basketball players, and have been asking for us to look at the players that might be interested in, studying in the UK, developing their higher education while also playing for the UK. So that is what we have been doing. We have been talking to schools, to reaching out to individuals and coaches, and it's something that I'm really happy about and really looking forward to, because basketball is big here, even culturally, because before COVID, I have my own friend group. We would play volleyball and we would organize and have games, and sometimes even companies play competitively volleyball and basketball. So it's really something that brings people together here and that they like. So for you to get a part of your scholarships or even reduced so that you can play and you can study, or even just a chance to play at university level, to be in the clubs, to play against other universities, I think that is a really good opportunity and really interesting one.
Absolutely. I fully agree. So what can students do with universities when they play at a competitive level?
So it depends from university to university, but they can play for the university and then compete in the university league. But they can even play for clubs and compete for clubs. And they have those sports centers that are within university where they can go. They can pick their majors, which should usually be at the campus where the sports center and everything is. And I've as far as the players in university that I've seen, they usually pick sports, and I guess that is the most logical since you're also doing it and you can, bring the education to the practical stuff. So that is also really good. Or other than that, business or sports management, those are all good programs that do connect it to a really good story. So yeah, those are their opportunities, and I think that they do have time because it's the first thing for university is your graduation and that you're happy and that everything is going well. So it is well rounded, I would say.
Exactly, absolutely. So yeah, I actually have a bit of a story about this because I was never an athlete, so to speak, but I rode horses for a really long time. Problematic, I know, but I rode horse for a really long time. I was really passionate about it. And when I got into Anglia Ruskin for my undergraduate degree, one of the things that I found out was that they actually had a horse riding society that was a part of their sports clubs, which was really cool. So I got to do my horse riding while doing my degree without having to pay anything extra. So even if you're not a top ranking athlete, if you want to keep doing your sport for fun or for sanity or whatever, for what sports actually helps you, then you can keep doing that with the university societies. Is this right?
Yeah, it is. And it's a good point that you mentioned they have a lot of societies. I've heard Harry Potter Society, Pizza Society, even Doctor Who and stuff like that. So I feel like that UK definitely offers whatever interest you have, and however small it is or big it is, you can explore it here. Because I even watched some, embroidery courses when COVID started, because I sew my own masks when there weren't any. And I saw this woman in the UK that she does her own clothes from the 18th centuries, and she has her friends and they do it, and it's sort of like their little club. So I can imagine how rare that is, and that is still existing in the UK. So a lot of stuff they do have, and some universities even offer bikes that you can deposit and then return or buy. So I think that is really good, and it's important to keep being healthy and staying active. I think we know that. I mean, that is one of the things we've learned this year, definitely. So I think that is also really good opportunity that you're not just stuck in your studies, but that you are exploring your interests and developing even emotionally and, on a personal level, not just academically.
Absolutely, I fully agree because it's the well-roundedness of the education, right? I remember being incredibly surprised when I walked into Nottingham Trent University and they had a climbing wall in their gym at university, and I was like, "Oh my God, why do you have this?" And they actually said exactly this of like it's about the well-roundedness of the education. It's about providing the students with a full service. It's about making sure that they're healthy in every way, not just in academic, that they're not just doing well academically, but that they're doing well in everything in their lives.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like as long as you're doing something that you love, it's good to do it and you should do it. And you never know how, in which way it will be refunded to you and what kind of personal or professional gain you will get from it. So, I mean,
Exactly.
I love volunteering. That is something that I do. And I remember something that directly connected me to this job. I went to volunteer and I called my partner. I was like, because I was volunteering at two other stuff, I was like, please, whenever I say again I want to volunteer, tell me no, I cannot do it. And he was like, sure. And I went to volunteer as a translator for a recruiter from York St. John. And she tagged me in a post to thank me. And that's how you saw it. And that is how I got a job opportunity. So even though it was something I loved, I did it, and that's how it came.
Exactly. It's amazing how things are so connected in that way, how the world is so small in those sorts of instances.
Yeah.
Kat, would you consider I'm gonna put you on the spot here a bit. Oh, but wait, before I put you on the spot, hello to everyone who's watching us and welcome to our study in the UK. Ask us anything. Don't forget, you can always comment any questions you might have below. I am here talking to Katarina today. She's one of our fantastic advisors for our Europe team, and she's working mainly with Serbian students. So today we've been talking about what it's like to be a Serbian student who wants to go and study in the UK, what it's like if you want to play sports with your university, because Serbia has so many fantastically talented basketball and volleyball players that we really want to get into these fantastic UK universities. So, Kat, speaking of this, I wanted to ask you about the sort of things that students can get from these universities when they are top ranking athletes. So, for example, can they get full scholarships?
Well, those are rare. You will have to be really good, and that is something that's really rare. And I feel like you should be safe and not look at those options. But most of the time, they give 25% scholarships, or they even give like scholarship allowances, so for your living costs and stuff like that. So that is something that is most common and something that people can realistically expect. So I think that
Perfect.
is that what should they expect.
Perfect. And that sounds really good as well. And there are some universities that give things like equipment to the students, right? If they want to play for varsity, if they want to play for their university, that they kind of get the uniform and all of this. Is this right?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they also get facilities, so they have places where they can do their trainings. It's totally free for them, and they can run, do condition trainings as well as basketball, volleyball. So they do have a lot of great facilities for them, because not just the clubs but university for programs like sports or something that is doing about physical health. They also use those facilities, so they're always like top facilities.
Exactly. So I had a question as well about this. What if I play, for example, I play a really obscure sport? Could I still be a top ranking athlete in the university?
Well, it depends at how you are at that sport, and if certain universities looks for certain sports, so we would have to find you the right university that fits your sports interest. And OK Student does that, so you would be at the right place to get that. And it really depends on what kind of player you are. But even if you are not good, you can still play. Like you said, there are still opportunities. You still got to, do a bit of a horse riding. So the door is never closed.
Exactly. So we have Martin's example, for example, who has just sent us a message about this, saying that he was the best paintballer in his uni because there was no other paintballer. So I hope that your uni has supported you during your semi-professional paintballing career, Martin. I am really enjoying this conversation. Thank you so much, Kat. I want to ask you
Thank you.
about OC now, because you have been working with this really interesting organization in Serbia. Do you want to talk about what that organization is?
Yeah, of course. So that is a great organization. It's for Serbian students that are studying abroad. Sorry. So they're sort of grouping all of the people abroad. They're having, gatherings. They're informing students from Serbia about what it's like to study somewhere abroad, and it's a really good community. And they have groups for each country where their member is. So it's a really tight-knit community, and it's really good for students who are thinking about going abroad to get informed, to get real answers for someone that's still there, who's in the system, in that educational system. So I think it's a really good organization that really helps people.
Perfect. And what does the acronym mean, by the way?
So it's an organization of Serbian students studying abroad. For us, it's I, because it's inostranstvo, is abroad.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And what have we been doing with them? Because we've been basically talking to them to do a few events. Is that right?
Yeah, so we will have this weekend. I think that's the 27th. Let me just. Yeah, so this weekend we will be having a webinar with them where we will be also talking about sports in Serbia, but also our NTU representative will be there, and we will be answering most of the questions about what it's like to study in the UK. And we hope we will have a lot of attendees, because we are really excited about that, and we really, want to get to know some people.
Perfect. And is this open to everyone? Can everyone go to this webinar?
Yeah, of course, everyone from Serbia can, go, because it will be on Serbian. So just if you can handle the language barriers, you're more than invited.
Guys, so don't forget, if you speak Serbian on the 27th, go to our fantastic webinar with the Organization of Serbian Students Abroad. Kat is going to be there talking about sports in Serbia and all of the benefits of studying in the UK for Serbian students. So that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about now, Kat, is what are the main benefits for a student to go to the UK?
So I think now with post-study work visa, that's a big benefit. So international students will be able to stay for 2 years after they graduate, so that they have enough time to find a job that fits them and that they really want. So which I think is really good, because I feel like the pressure is off and you don't have to race to get the job, but you still have time to find everything. So I think that's a really good opportunity, especially within the UK pay ranges and our pay ranges in Serbia. So I feel like even though studying in the UK for Serbia typically is a big investment, you have time once you are looking for jobs and within those 2 years, and then hopefully you get a work visa. So you have time and more than enough opportunity to get that money back and to gain experience from everything that you've studied, because you will be studying mostly about the UK markets, so where better than to go into.
That's a great benefit, undoubtedly, is the fact that students can get this visa right after they leave their studies and get 2 years of working license in the UK to find a really good job. So this is called the post-study work visa, guys. Don't forget, post-study work visa is going to come into action this year. So if you want to get one, come to the UK and study, send us your details through, better send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk, or send us your details through through okstudent.com/book a meeting. Oh my God, this was difficult this time. Woof, difficult.
You still got it, don't worry.
Oh my God, we try. So I wanted to ask you as well, like all of the courses or most of the undergraduate courses I've seen in the UK have what it's called a placement year. Do you think this is also a good advantage for students?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. I also think that too, because here some internships might not be paid, so that's also, you do the work, but you don't get compensation, and you also, you really put out your energy, which I think should be compensated in some way. So I think with placement, that is great, because you also get to find internships, you get to apply your knowledge or even get stuff and learn more, because I have friends that are on their internships and they say that they're learning so much, even more than in the university. So I think it's also a great learning opportunity, not just for work, but also to learn, to get that first steps in the industry and to find your place as well.
Exactly. I fully agree. So, guys, just to let you know, a placement year is basically a year that you take off your studies to go and work. And this completely dealt with by the university. You just have to find a company that's willing to take you, or the university might even find a company for you. And you can basically do your placement, which is kind of an internship, anywhere around the world. You can do it for 9 months. Some universities do it for 3 months, others do it for 6 months. But it's a great opportunity for you to increase your work experience in the end, and gaining a bit more of experience to put on your CV as well, and to apply your knowledges, as you were saying, Kat.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that everywhere around the world you can get placement. I think that is also a really good benefit to mention, because I know that one of our universities mentioned that they had in Disney someone that went to finance to Disney in Paris. So I think that is, always like really good to hear that those doors are open.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our universities have such great partnerships with such amazing companies. Things like Rolls-Royce, if you're working on mechanical engineering, things like Disney or Pixar, if you're working in animation, things like Hollywood, for example, like major Hollywood companies that hire students from these graduate teams. And it's really, really good. So I have a question here, actually, from Joanna, who's asking
Hi,
us,
Joanna.
hi, Joanna. What's your favorite thing about the UK educational system so far? And as a Serbian student, is there anything you'd bring from the UK to Serbia?
Uh, oh, these are good questions, yeah. Thank you for
Very
them.
good question.
So what I would bring from Serbia, I think some food recipes, definitely, because I would miss my Serbian food. So I think that would be one of the main things. Uh, I will get back to it if I think of anything else. And my dog, I mean, but that is that is more personal. And about the UK educational system, other than extracurricular activities, which I mentioned, which I'm really big on, so that is, what is really something amazing for me. But I like to read, so I love the libraries and their accessibility, and I love just facilities that are available to students, because I'm always the student that likes to walk around and see everything and dip my toe in stuff that I can do. So I really do like that, and I like how practical the universities are, because if you're interested in law, a lot of universities have mock courtrooms, or if you're interested in tradings, you can walk to something that looks like straight out of those Wall Street movies. So that is really good. And, you can really talk to experts from within the fields of your interest. And that is, if you're interested in documentaries, you have lecturers that have received awards, that have done wonderful documentaries. We even had one of our partners, I think, that mentioned like casually that some of the stuff they did for special effects for Game of Thrones. So that is also really cool. And we also had one that did embroidery courses, and they did, was it the veil? So it was something about Kate Middleton's dress for her wedding. I don't know if it was the whale, but it's little stuff like that that people do hear about, and you can be part of that. So I really like that. And for engineering students, they also do a lot of Formula One cars. So it's really diverse, and you have really a lot of opportunities. So I guess that is what I like most.
So there is a thing I want to mention here, because I sometimes I'm just fascinated with these things about areas that I just don't understand at all. There's a thing called Formula Student in the UK, which is basically a challenge that some universities participate on. We have, for example, Brunel University participates on it every year. And it's basically the students build their own race car and they race them against each other in this competition to kind of see which student car is the best. So it's such an interesting thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, really cool.
Thank you so much for your question, Joanna. This was great.
Thank you so much.
Kat, I have one final question with you. So Joanna asked you what you would bring from the UK all the way to Serbia. So I want to ask you what you wouldn't bring from Serbia to the UK if you were to move to the UK right now.
I'm such a nerd. I wouldn't bring books, because I would buy a bunch of books in the UK because I order now from a lot of on English, so I wouldn't bring any. I would just come back without suitcases with books, definitely.
That's such a good response. That is
a
such
nerdy
a good
one,
answer.
but honestly, that is.
I full on relate. My sister has the biggest to be read pile that I've ever seen in my life. And her main expense when she goes on travels to the UK is the books that she buys. Kat,
I'd like to exchange with her our wish list for books.
I'll send you her book depository wish list, don't worry. Kat, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any last words, any last comments you want to say, any last tips for our Serbian students that are thinking about going to the UK?
Yeah, of course. You shouldn't be scared if you don't have the enough level of English, because there's always opportunities. There are programs like Foundation Year, and I would advise you to come back next week, because Mariana's next guest will be Bern, who did a Foundation Year, so he can answer all of your questions about that topic. So stick by and see us next week.
Perfect. One final thing. What time is the OC webinar on Saturday?
I think it's at 10 or 11. Let me just, I'm confused by the UK and Serbian time. I always mix it up. Yeah. So it's from 10:30. Yeah.
Perfect. So from 10:30 a.m. UK time. So don't forget
No, that's Serbian time. I'm sorry.
Oh.
And 9:30. 9:30.
Perfect. So 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, is that right?
Up to 12. Yeah, 12 a.m. UK time.
Perfect. So don't forget, guys, tune in for our OC webinar on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. UK time. It was lovely having you here, Kat. Thank you so much. And for all of the
Thank you for
Serbian
having me.
students, for all the Serbian students watching us, don't forget, send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or send us your details through okstudent.com/book a meeting. All right. Thank you again, Kat. Have a great day. Thank you for everyone who's watching us and to everyone who has asked us some questions.